Today I want to discuss on principles. Principle here, I will step it a little bit further to make you see the law. The law, people don't like hearing the word law generally. And then I don't blame them, because the more primitive people are, the more superstitious they are. The more superstitious they are, the more they don't want to know the logic behind things. So they believe things happen because there is some spirit, there is some force. So that's why they do sacrifice to appease the gods. So the less knowledgeable, the less civilized, the more superstitious people are. So when people are still not willing to hear the word law, it is a message to me that these people are yet to develop their mind to understand that things work exactly by what they want to avoid. Things work by law. So today I want to discuss the word law, or the word principle. You can call it principle. But the underlying thing is the law. That law manifests itself in terms of pattern. In terms of pattern, how things are pattern. This is how to get result in this. This is how to get result in that. Pattern. So that pattern is what we call principle. Now, what is the key thing we want to bring out here is that when you want to understand God, don't think of God as a God of miracle. This is a very common discussion among believers, among Christians, among people who are religious people. They say God is God of miracle. Obviously, the Bible mentions that, because it's talking to people who see the external outcome. And because the external outcome is enigmatic, is spontaneous, is sudden, it is unexplainable, so they call it miracle. But pause a little. What brought about that miracle? There must be a reason, there must be a logic, there must be a law for that miracle. Otherwise, that miracle should have happened everywhere, every time, to everybody. But we discovered that that's not the case. It doesn't happen to everybody, with everybody, by everybody, everywhere, anytime. It has something that brought it about. It has circumstance that brought it about. That means there's a logic behind the outcome you see. So when you focus on the outcome, you see miracle. But if you go beyond the outcome, you discover there is a process. So the universe, or God, rules the universe, or the universe runs itself by principle, by law. If you understand the law, you're going to get success. If you understand the law, you're going to understand the pattern. If you understand the law, you're going to respect the rules. People that don't respect law can't govern themselves right. Discover that it is the more people are civilized, the more they respect the law. The less people are civilized, the more they want quick fix, quick way of making money, quick way of getting things. Everything must be followed by its process, or along its process, to get the good outcome. If you want a good relationship, process required. You must follow the principle that brings about good relationship to get good marriage, for instance, or good relationship. You want a good success in your business, in a partnership, you're dealing with people or dealing with the staff, you need to understand the rules of relationship, the rules of management to get good outcome out of your business. If you want to know God, if you want to get power, if you want to get results in spiritual matters, you must understand the rules required. People say must pay the price or pay the cost. That is the logic of getting that great outcome. Nobody comes up with great knowledge who did not do great input of seeking, great input of searching, great input of inquiring. You don't come up with great intelligence from nowhere. Everybody is born with potential to be intelligent, to be wise, but not everybody is wise, because not everybody pays or gives the requirement for wisdom. Not everybody pays the price wisdom requires. Not everybody pays the price for knowledge. So the way to live is to understand the law. I remember once I read a book by Brian Tracy, and he said he started education in his 30s, because that was when he discovered the law of cause and effect. See, so he discovered that if you don't make an input, you won't get an output. So that radically changed him. Some people study the law, but they don't take it to heart. They study it, but the law has not really entered them. The day you encounter the fact of the law, that things work by law, that is the day you begin to live a meaningful and purpose-driven life. So when he found out that the law of cause and effect drives everything, he discovered that if you are poor, it is self-made. It doesn't mean that we want to go around and begin to blame everybody that is poor. You are the cause of your poverty and all of that. But there is a contribution you make towards your poverty. So also, if you are wealthy, there is a contribution you make towards your wealth. Even if you are born into wealth, you can't become wealthy just because you're born into wealth. You must do something to make the wealth become yours. You inherited something, and you develop yourself in nowhere to merit or to multiply what you inherited. The wealth would not work for you. So there must be an input if you want any results. So you discover that in spiritual matters, we don't just become great just because we are born great. We don't just become great just because God has made us great. We don't just become great because God has given us promises. We become great because we work on those promises. We work on our greatness. We work on our inheritance. We work on our potentialities, because that's the law of advance. That's the law of progress. That's the law of development. So rather than run after miracles from one place to the other, why not find out what brings about the miracle? Why not find out what is behind the miracle? Why don't you sit down and wonder, why is it that I got miracle at one time and I've not got it another time? Why don't you sit down and find out, why is it that many people came but few got miracles? What made these ones to get miracle and others did not get miracle? Why don't you sit down and ask the question, why is it that not everybody does miracle? Sit down and you discover that miracles supposed to happen every day and actually does happen every day. Miracle happens every day. But if you sit down to think, you discover that there is a law, there is something behind the development you see as miracle. Something happens, something is behind what you now see as miracle. For instance, you just see a miracle of breakthrough. Something just happened your way. Perhaps there would have been an input somewhere. Input has been done somewhere, and then you see the outcome you have now. You see somebody just suddenly made first class in school. You say, this person is lucky. Oh, this person was born to learned parents. Perhaps that's a part of the seed anyway. But you don't want to sit down and find out what has this person personally done to make this first class possible, because there is no outcome without some input. Everybody that is standing on a sound or great skill has done some labor. And usually the labor is done in the secret. I recently heard somebody say there is nothing good about darkness. I said, no, I disagree. Darkness is a time of development. Every development occurs in the dark. The light is a period for display. So there would have been something somebody did in the dark, did in the hidden, did in the time you don't see. Because the difference between an intelligent student and a dull student is what they do in their spare time. An intelligent student uses spare time productively to develop, to learn, to study. A poor student uses spare time to play and then becomes serious in the class. The class is not a time to learn. The class is not a time for study. It's a time for you to listen to somebody, to the instructor, to the teacher, to the lecturer. But a poor student, that's a time to learn. But that's not the time to learn to a good student. A good student listen to lecture, may not listen to lecture, but usually listen to lecture, but goes back to do more work behind the scene. And it's what you do in the dark that determines the input you put in place to bring the result outside. But many people look at the external, look at the display, look at what the light manifests. The light is for manifestation. The darkness is for development. That's the value of darkness. Every development is done in the dark. Every real development is done in the hidden. Every study, private study, is done in the hidden place. It's done when nobody sees. It's done in the time of failure. It's done in obscurity. We only see the outplay, the outcome, the manifestation when there's a display. You see that? So if you want to understand God as the God of law, as the God of principle, as the God of process, as the God of pattern, not as the God of miracle. Thank you. If you find this video useful, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on the social media handles. You see Facebook there. We shall have more of this kind of discussions and as you follow along. Thank you.